As is often the case with an initial run of shows of the year, the Mardi Gras Chinese New Year's Valentine's Day run was in many ways a warm-up for the later shows in March surrounding St. Patrick's Day. This initial run of the year began amid some rumors that Jerry had been sick with the flu the previous week, and this may have contributed to a somewhat lower energy level. Each run, though, was not without its highlights, as we'll take a look at now. Valentine's Day was kicked off by a rollicking Touch of Grey, followed by a spirited Feel Like a Stranger, Franklin's Tower, and Walkin' Blues. This set ended with an uncommon first set closer of Cassidy. On the next night, Dr. John's Cajun Piano opened the Mardi Gras celebration. The Dead's first set highlights included a When I Paint My Masterpiece and an inspirational bird song. The second set of this Mardi Gras show began with a dazzling array of color and costumes. A Mardi Gras parade followed, complete with dancers, flower-strewn floats, and giant heads that made a procession through the crowd and onto the stage. They remained there while the Dead played the familiar Cajun chant of Iko Iko. The highlight of this run came out of the space and included the wheel, followed by a great All Along the Watchtower. After this came the impressive Jerry Brent vocal and instrumental showcase of Dear Mr. Fantasy. Wednesday, February 17th, it was back to the auditorium for another evening of fanfare. This time the mask and confetti of Mardi Gras had been cast aside for the dragons and lanterns celebrating the Chinese New Year. The second set drums were accompanied by a giant dragon as it slithered its way through the densely packed crowd. The first set of the opening night of the March run, March 16, 1988, began with Alabama Get Away, not heard in the West since the Greek Theater last June. Later in this set came a strong premiere of the first West Coast version of Bob Dylan's Queen Jane Approximately, articulately sung by Bob Weir. The second set's energy level took off with a surging Scarlet Begonias, and the band's energy was reaching peak after peak until Phil shifted gears and drove straight into an eagerly anticipated Fire on the Mountain. The fire raged fast and furious as Jerry led with soaring solos and the band kept up. The momentum continued with Hot playing in the band jams. After Drums in Space, they delighted all with The Wheel, Gimme Some Lovin', All Along the Watchtower, which led into a fittingly triumphant Morning Dew. The first set of Friday, March 18th was highlighted by another West Coast first. This time it was Bob Dylan's Stuck in Mobile, sung by Bob Weir. Whatever intermission therapy the band indulged in, it was successful, as they came back and stormed their way through a smoking China Cat rider and Estimated Eyes with barely a moment to breathe in between. The stage was left to the drummers, who, accompanied by Egyptian percussionist Hamza El-Din, engaged the audience in a hypnotic, rhythmic chant. But the best was still to come. After a great space, the band leapt into Going Down the Road, and then into I Need a Miracle. The miracle of the night, though, was a Dear Mr. Fantasy and a Hey Jude, a combination not even heard since Red Rocks 1985. Jerry continued to soar and scream, excitedly concluding one of the hottest second sets in recent memory. The final night's short 6-song first set featured Brown-Eyed Woman and Birdsong into Music Never Stopped. The subdued second set featured a surprise Uncle John's band when all expected a terrapin. After a brief but interesting drums, Jerry was back with a long space jam, which, as was the case with the previous two nights, was substantive. Later on, a sweet and soulful Stella Blue attained one of the evening's climaxes. Overall, I'd have to say we've just witnessed an initiation into what should very well be an exciting year of shows. I hope that some of you out there will be able to experience some more of that with us.